This presentation is focused on the Alabama Educator Code of Ethics, and these are just some standards that are in place to help us ensure that we're effective and that we're providing the best opportunity for all students to learn and be successful in our classes. Standard 1 is professional conduct. An educator should demonstrate conduct that follows generally recognized professional standards at all times. It's important for us to be ethical. We need to encourage and support our colleagues. We need to be sure that we're engaging in professional learning opportunities and taking part in all opportunities that we have to better ourselves professionally. Some of the things that we should not do, we don't need to harass our colleagues or ever misuse test materials. We have to be careful of the language that we use on school property and in the presence of our students and their families. And we always need to be sure that we're supervising students to be sure that they are always safe. Standard 2 is trustworthiness. An educator should exemplify honesty and integrity in the course of professional practice. The things that we do, we need to properly represent facts concerning education of our students. It's important for us to promote fair and equitable opportunities for all children. And we need to be sure that we're modeling characteristics of fairness and honesty, because if we want our children to be fair and honest, we need them to see that modeled through our behaviors as well. The things that we should not do, we can never provide false information when applying for a job. It's also important for us to always ensure that any information that we present to government agencies is accurate. And we can't present false information regarding students or other members of our faculty. And we need to be sure that we are honest about reasons that we're absent. Standard 3 focuses on unlawful acts. An educator should abide by federal, state, and local laws and statutes. Educators should not be convicted of any crimes, and that just really includes if at any time you're tried for something and you're found guilty, then you've been convicted of that crime. So we have to ensure that we're abiding by the law at all times. Standard 4 focuses on teacher-student relationships. An educator should always maintain a professional relationship with all students, both in and outside the classroom. It's important for us to serve as a trusted confidant and mentor for our students. We need to be sure that we're doing all that we can to nurture our students and to help them grow. We need to provide a safe learning environment for our children so that they feel comfortable and that they can really achieve to their highest ability. And we need to provide a challenging learning environment for all students. The things that we should not do as educators are to commit any form of child abuse or to commit any form of cruelty or endangerment for our children. We also should not commit sexual acts with a student or harass students based on any factors. And although these should not be issues that we really have to be concerned about, these are things that have been happening. Unfortunately, we're more aware of these things in the media and all, so we have to be really certain that we're always maintaining professional relationships with our students. Standard 5 is about alcohol, drug, and tobacco use or possession. An educator should refrain from the use of alcohol and or tobacco during the course of professional practice and should never use illegal or unauthorized drugs. So the thing to do is to accurately represent the danger of drugs and alcohol to our students. We focus on studying those dangers during things like Drug Awareness Week and things like that. So we need to be sure that we're accurately presenting that information to our students so that they're aware of the dangers of misuse. And we should never come to work under the influence of alcohol, and we should never use drugs or alcohol on school premises. Standard 6 is focusing on public funds and property. An educator entrusted with public funds and property should honor that trust with a high level of honesty, accuracy, and responsibility. We need to make the best use of school funds and be sure that we're using those funds for the thing that they've been allocated for. And we have to always be sure that we're taking care of public property. That's anything that belongs to our classroom or school. We have to use it appropriately. We should never misuse school funds. We also have to be sure that whenever we're receiving funds from children or from their parents, that we're reporting that accurately. It's important to record money received and to return receipts to students so that there's a record of the money that we take in. When you make any charges, you have to be sure that those are charges that you're authorized to make, and you can't request reimbursement for things that you're not authorized to buy. Like if you're using food in a class, it has to be something that's directly tied to a standard that you're teaching. You can't just buy snacks for your kids. It's a good thing to do, and it's something that's helpful to the kids, but if you're doing things like that, it has to come out of your personal funds. You can't request that the school reimburse you for those. Standard 7 is focusing on conduct, and educators should maintain integrity with students, colleagues, parents, patrons, or businesses when accepting gifts, gratuities, favors, and additional compensation. So we can't ever accept a gift from a student or a parent that could serve as a bribe. We have to be sure that that things that are given to us are never used to cause us to change a child's grade or to change our policies. And we also have to be aware of the fact that gifts are limited to no more than $25, and we can't accept a large gift from a student. The things that we cannot do: we cannot solicit students or parents to buy materials that would benefit us as personally, that would benefit us financially. We can't accept gifts for personal use or gain, and we cannot tutor students that are from our own classes without seeking permission from the administration first. Standard 8 is maintenance of confidentiality, and educators should comply with state and federal laws and local school board policies relating to confidentiality of student and personnel records, standardized test material, and other information covered by confidentiality agreements. We have to be sure that we keep student information confidential and only share information regarding our students with those who are on a need-to-know basis. You can share things with other people who work with that child, but you shouldn't be communicating personal information about a child to a teacher in another grade level and things like that. Also, when you have standardized test materials in your possession, you need to be sure that those are kept secure so that no one else has access to those. The things that you do not do: we cannot disclose student information unless it's something that's required by law that we share with another person. And we also have to be sure that we comply with required confidentiality agreements. And standard 9, the last standard that we're going to cover today, is about abandonment of contract. Abandoning your contract is just to relinquish your professional contract without prior release. So if for any reason you need to be released from a contract, it's important that it's discussed with your administrator ahead of time and that they release you from that. And you have to be sure that you fulfill all of the requirements of your contract before leaving a job. So again, these were the Alabama Educator Code of Ethics, and these are things that we need to really be sure that we're keeping in mind so that we are maintaining ethical practice.